How's it going today, everybody? Ghost XD here today. Just wanted to check in and see how things have been going. We have been taking a little bit of a break on EFT. There were some issues with connectivity and those kinds of things, and a lot of what we do is labs. And when you have connectivity issues with labs, you lose everything. So I kind of wanted to put up what we've been using for a budget build for labs. We're really using an M1A with some minor tweaks to it, along with using some M80 bullets, level 4 armor, and a high ricochet helmet, which I'll kind of cover all that obviously shortly. But really, what we've been doing is trying to really still go into labs with a gun without pistol running, without hatchet running, that kind of thing. I am not a big fan of it. Tons of people do it, which I'm not against them doing it, but me personally, I'm not a big fan of it. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to build up this video to kind of explain some of that. Well, if you guys ever want to just check out, see what we're doing inside EFT and labs, I do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. You can always catch us in labs or, really on Call of Duty or any other shooting game. If you guys ever have any questions, feel free to let me know. Look forward to seeing you guys out there in EFT, and enjoy the video. All right, so as if you were to run anything as a budget, everything is budget friendly. So, a lot of what you can do around a budget, you can, like I said, run AKs, you can run an SKS, you can really run whatever you want. But I really found that a lot of the good amount of penetration and damage you need to penetrate people that are stacked armor or stacked gears, the M1A does a really good job at that, along with those M80 bullets. Really for us, we were running very basic armor. We were running high ricochet chance helmets, just to kind of help a little bit in case somebody was using very bad bullets or they were pistol running in that case. And then we really just wouldn't really wear a lot of big, heavy tiered, expensive armors. So what you see here, I'm using the good old, military helmet here. This is a really great helmet for the price. I think it's a give or take around 18,000 rubles, give or take. That's directly from the Ragman. So give or take about 18,000 rubles. You might be able to find them cheaper on the flea market. You might be able to find them a little bit damaged, but generally from Ragman you can pick it up for around 18,000 rubles. The armor we used to use as well, and the one we still kind of use varying on the run, is this armor here. It is fairly small, so don't plan on sticking a lot of loot in there. Really, the whole point of what we do with the armor and the helmet is, we really plan on either killing raiders or we kill players. And if we die, then it's not a big shot to the piggy bank. Why we really like these is this is still a level 4 armor class, so it does still have some good penetration resistance, and then we use the helmet, like I said, for high ricochet chance. So that's kind of what we run for armors. We don't run backpacks at all. We're not a big fan of backpacks. Really, when you come in there, 9 times out of 10 you're either going to find a dude with a raid backpack, or you're going to find a raider with a backpack, even if it's a Burkett or something smaller, whatever it may be, even a beta backpack. So we naturally will never go in with backpacks. If we do go in backpacks, it'll usually be a Burkett, so then we can put in our M1As or whatever into that. But naturally, we just won't go in with backpacks. So kind of around the gun. So we run 20 round mags or 20 round clips, usually about 2 of them, and then we put a little bit of M80 inside of our pouch here, container. And so that's really what we really run a lot of, is 20 round mags with the M80s in there. That's a huge thing. It makes it a little bit bigger, so it makes it a 2x for height. But that's really kind of what we have been running, as the 20 round mags. Now around M1A. So you can do the M1A in a multitude of different ways. This is kind of the way we really like doing it. It's a way both me and a buddy do it every single time we decide to kind of quote unquote budget run labs. And actually, we've actually started utilizing this when we initially go into labs as well. If we're not bringing in a no recoil M4, which is ridiculously expensive, or bringing in AS Val or VSS. I am, me personally, a huge AS Val or VSS person. You'll see here I have an AS Val here, and if you go look at these ones here, I have tons of AS valves and VSS. So those are really good to, to go into labs with, but they can be very pricey. Initially buying a VSS is not too terrible. It's around, give or take 40,000 rubles. But by the time you put a decent mount on there with a decent scope and all that kind of jazz, you're really, creeping up on the cost around, 70K, give or take, just to build a VSS. Where it really gets you is actually the magazine. So if you decide you want to do 30 round magazines like this one has right here, those 30 round magazines are about 35,000 a piece. So if you want to put in, 5 magazines, you're spending a lot of money just in magazines. Really compared to the M1A 20 round magazine, those are around 3,000 rubles a piece. So you're really saving a lot of money, even just around the magazines themselves. Also bullets, M80 bullets, give or take, they vary all the time. But, at the time of this recording, the M80 bullets are around 300 rubles a piece. Compared to what I usually recommend, the minimum are the SP6s, and those are about 600 per. Me personally, I front load BPs and then back load SPP, and BP bullets for the AS Val and the VSS are around 1,400 a piece. So a lot of money. And then the SPP are give or take around 900 per. So, the VSS sounds great. If you have a lot of money, it's a really great gun to go in there with and be able to shred people's armor. But, if you're trying to budget run it, you're trying to initially get into labs, you don't want to spend a ton of money, the M1A is really the way to go, because you're going to save, about 150,000, give or take, rubles. And, if you're not rich, I'm fairly low on money right now. I've been sitting here around, 15,000 or 15 million, to 20 million rubles, but right now I'm a little broke side. So, varying on that, you make your decision. So around the M1A build. So you can naturally just buy an M1A, off the market if you wanted to. M1As are a little bit more expensive than VSSs, but, it's give or take around 50,000-ish just for a stock M1A. That's totally up to you how you'd want to do that. You can find them for a lot cheaper, but sometimes they can be, more expensive. Usually what we really do is we will just put what we call an arms number 18 mount. The biggest thing that gives you, which is this mount right here, is it gives you the capability of being able to put a scope directly on your gun. You can't put a scope really on an M1A without something like that. I highly recommend that. Even if you decide, right now I have a monster on there, but you can really put whatever scope you want on there. So, some people put close range scopes, some people put longer range scopes. For me, labs, a lot of labs is long range hallways, so we use this a lot just to look down the hallways and single tap people in the head. But that's kind of what give or take what we usually use. This mount, is usually around 50,000, or sorry, not 50,000, 5,000 rubles. And the scope will really vary that as well. A scope like the Monster is give or take, I think, around 30,000 right now. Actually, it's lower. It's actually 20,000 right now. So, varying on your scope, that will also vary the price. Something that's optional, not really required, that makes it more expensive. We use the Archangel stock. That's the stock that we like to use. Those vary around, those give or take are around 25,000 rubles. So that gets a little bit pricier as an M1A. And then we actually will throw a silencer on there too. That's a $70,000 silencer though. So, varying on how much money you want to spend, it gets fairly expensive. Those are two items are very optional. You don't have to do an Archangel. You don't have to do a silencer on there. I actually personally like the Archangel because it gives me the capability of mounting a laser sight onto there. And I usually will do that to clear a room or something like that, especially if I have a bigger sight on the gun. So anyways, that's kind of what we usually run. Like I said, I have a video that I'll put in a link on here on the screen that really specifies where we use the M1A. One of the things I would say, is be good at a single shot rifle. Make sure you hit your shots. If you're more of a spray and pray kind of person, you're not really good at getting good headshots or, being able to hit people very well or tracking people very well, the M1A is not going to work good for you. But I feel like, you know, if you could hit them in the chest, hit them in the head, you know, when they burst through the door or whatever it may be, you know, you're really going to really knock people down, especially even if they're, you know, rocking Gen 4, you know, with VSS or AS-Val. I've killed tons of people with those guns with this M1A. So anyways, it just varies on kind of how your play style is, what you do, how good of a shot you are. Like I said, you know, the M1A, give or take, with a labs key card, we usually go in with around 300,000 rubles is what we usually will, you know, put for all in on this, with the key card, with the armor, with the M1A, with the bullets, all that stuff. It's give or take around 300,000 rubles. The VSS kit gets a little bit more pricey. The VSS kit, all said and done, it's around 450,000 rubles. And that gets a little pricey, you know, when you're talking 150,000 rubles and buying a key card, you know, that the price difference there is a key card. So, you know, in that aspect, you know, you're going to be spending a little bit more money. Now, also note too, that's also still using this armor. So if you wanted to go in with a VSS kit, that's great, but you're probably going to want to go in with a better armor. You know, it's going to increase the price a little bit on a helmet. You know, normally if I'm going in kitted with AS-Val, I'm bringing in an airframe helmet. You know, those helmets are 150,000 just by the helmet themselves. You know, then you throw on a face mask, you throw on chops, you know, you throw in a better armor kit, stuff like that. That's going to start adding up, and before you know it, you're in it, you know, 1,000,000 rubles just to go into labs and just to get one tapped by a jackass that using an M1A or even a pistol possibly. So anyways, that's kind of usually the gun I look at using. This is just, you know, I had some people asking about it, and I figured I'd just kind of briefly walk through it, kind of give you guys a brief overview of the gun that we use. I do find it's a great gun. It's a good single tap gun, and I use it a lot in many different ways. Hope this was helpful for some of you guys that are newer to labs. You know, feel free to throw us a like. You know, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We'll be putting out more of these kinds of videos and more how-tos. Like I said, we will be on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Feel free to check us out. Happy hunting and enjoy.